can't love you because I'm attracted to Josh.
I don't even care. You can keep the ring. Every time you look at that thing, whatever you do with it, I want you to be reminded that you passed up on something great.
I don't know which is worse, the fact that Jackie thinks she's playing Marshall and she's dumped him and she's embarrassed him, or the or that Josh is actually playing Jackie, because Josh in the pods did say, because at one time he threatened to go home if Jackie didn't pick him, and then he complained in his confessional that, I don't like losing and I hate the fact that Jackie's going to pick Marshall. And so I personally, even if they're still dating, I saw somewhere on YouTube someone saying that they're still dating to date. I don't see that as a long term relationship. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, it's Valerie. Welcome back. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 4, Episode 10. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and comment and subscribe. Okay, so the episode starts with Jackie still on her date with Josh. I think this date, although the producer set it up, I think something happened at Chelsea's party that's led to the continuation of this date, because it's something that's just happened out of the blue. That conversation wasn't enough to sort of lead us to believe that they would want to go on a date. So I didn't get that. And the fact that Jackie was flirting openly, it was embarrassing. And Josh was trying to say, "Oh, I've always been told to hide my emotions because I played a lot of sport, and we were always encouraged to hide our emotions, and this is why I didn't show you that I was really upset that that you didn't choose me." And it's like, how gullible are you, Jackie, that you can't see that this guy is playing you? He is playing you. He is playing you. He said it in the pause that, he really wasn't that keen. I have to give Raven a lot of credit, because when Baptiste tried this nonsense, he said no. Baptiste didn't like Pod Raven, but suddenly he likes the visual Raven because he's seen what I look like. And this is what has happened to Jackie. I don't think Josh really likes Jackie. I think Josh likes the idea of winning Jackie, and he likes the idea of their continuing story because of the publicity it's going to give them. That's as far as that, I think, is as far as he's willing to go. I know he did ask her, would you consider marrying me? And she said not today, but at some point. And it's like, I think Jackie saw ZACK and Bliss, and so that they'd given each other a second chance, and people were happy for that. And I think this is the reason why she was emboldened to do the same thing. But sadly, her situation is worse because of the way she's treated Marshall. Had she broken up with Marshall the same way that ZACK broke up with Irena, people would not have a problem with it. But I think the way it's played out, it's going to be a big issue. Anyway, so the guys meet up with Nick, and the girls meet up with Vanessa. They all bring their family members. It was nice to see who people brought. I don't remember who Paul brought. I think he brought a couple of his friends. Brett brought his friends. ZACK brought his sister, which was cute, and it was cute, and it was. I felt a bit sorry for them in the sense that their mum is late, so I don't know whether they're in touch with their dad, and so it was just the two of them. I know when they had the family visit, he had his cousin and his aunt and her husband, so it was nice, but it was also a bit sad, because she was then having to ask him questions and stuff, and she didn't really. I think she's not really that sort of person. I think she's not into public speaking. And then Marshall obviously had his friends, but he had to leave, and Kwame had one of the guys from the pods, because apparently most of his friends are in Portland, so he's got no one in Seattle. So this is why he asked this guy who was his friend in the pods. The girls, Micah brought her mum, and surprisingly, she brought her horrible friend that doesn't like Paul, and it doesn't make sense to me. Um, Tiffany brought her mum, and I think it was a sister or her friend, and Chelsea brought her cousin. Awkward. Because the cousin, they were all, the family members were asked to make sort of some sort of speech for the brides as they, were modeling around their dresses, and the cousin didn't know what to say because she started crying. She said one word and then started crying, and I think it's because she wasn't prepared for this and didn't know what to say or how to behave. And Bliss's mom was there with her sister, because her sister apparently is one of the bridesmaids, and it was really sweet. It was really sweet, and I think, I don't know, because Micah was there with her mum. She was sort of saying, "It's good that you get to see me, we never thought, we'd get to this day where you'd see me buy a wedding dress, or where you'd see me get married, and we're both in good health." And I'm questioning, like, did Micah's mom, is she unwell, or is she, what is going on? There's more to that story. I wish they had told us that story. Tiffany's mom was amazing, and I loved Bliss's mom. I think Bliss's mom for me thus far is the parent of the season. As far as I'm concerned, she's the MVP parent of the season. And so it was beautiful. The dresses were nice, but I didn't really see any that was outstanding. I still maintain that Ayana had the best dress thus far. I don't know. I think Ayana's dress was amazing. And the guys were sort of shopping for their suits and stuff. Marshall had a conversation with his friends about, Jackie not showing up for the bridal fitting, and the friends were not really happy. So he was upset as well, and just said, I'll have a conversation with her and see how it goes, but I'm really don't, I'm done. And it's like, you should have been done, when she refused to talk to you and was busy commenting about your eyes instead of making appropriate conversation. So that I didn't get. And also, I liked ZACK. ZACK was like, oh, I told my fiance to pick whatever she wants. So whatever she picks, the colors, everything, I'm game, I will wear. And then with the ladies, one other thing that I noticed was when Chelsea was busy talking about, how she's looking forward to marrying Kwame and whatever. Micah was in her feelings. Micah was in her feelings. She was making this funny face, and it's like, you are the one who dumped Kwame. It's not the other way around. The other ladies were happy for her, but you could Micah was in her feelings. She was not happy. I don't think she'll ever get over this. It's her fault. She dumped a guy. Somebody else picked him up, and so she has to keep it moving. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. So Marshall goes home to have a conversation with Jackie about why she didn't turn up for the bridal fitting, and they go into this back and forth, with Marshall say, I don't understand why I have to always accommodate you. And she is sort of saying, oh, Marshall, I can't love you because I'm still attracted to Josh. I have feelings for Josh, and I went to see him, and we've decided there is some chemistry, and we've decided to give things a go. And it's like, what is wrong with you? On the trip in Mexico, you were enjoying yourself with Marshall. He comforted you during your trying times, and now suddenly you've seen Josh 2 minutes. He said whatever sweet nothing he said in your ear, and you're suddenly head over heels in love with Josh. I think she likes toxicity, and I think Marshall wasn't toxic enough for her, and this is why she's dumping him. I think had he treated her like crap, that's the sort of person she would have wanted to be with, and so she breaks it off with him and tells him, I can't be with you because I want to, pursue things with Josh. And it's like, why? You don't need to say that. You don't need to say that. And Marshall was right to say, I don't understand why you accepted my proposal. If you knew you still had feelings for Josh, you should have let me know. And in that case, give me back my ring. And Jack is refusing. No, I want to keep the ring. I'm going to keep the ring. I'm going to keep the ring. And Marshall was like, well, okay, keep it. And then just remember that you gave up a good thing for whatever you're putting up with Josh. And it's, for me personally, this is a lot of drama. This is unnecessary. I think as much as Marshall might have been looking for a wife, I think he was a bit too young, because the older guys were able to find quality ladies, because there were a lot of quality ladies in the pods. But because of his age, I think this is why he was not able to find someone of substance. I think Jackie was not it for him. And the way she was making these snarky remarks and sort of faces behind his back as he walked off, I don't get it. I don't get it. Even in a confessional, she said, I am crazy. It's like, that's not something to be proud of. That's not something to be proud of. And I think Marshall should hold his head high, and as he did his best. Sadly, she wasn't the woman for him. He will find someone who is looking for the same things that he's looking for, and he'll be fine. And he just needs to keep it moving. Kwame and Chelsea, I didn't get their photo shoot. I think this is what Kwame was trying to say, that Chelsea is getting everything she wanted, and he is having to uproot his life to accommodate Chelsea and her wants. She will still be local to where she lives, her family, her work, her shopping, and everything else. And so this photo shoot, I think Kwame just did it because he really likes her, and so he had no choice but to do it. I think it was inappropriate. I think it was insensitive. I think she needs to be culturally aware, because how will already there's an issue with his mum not being very receptive of this wedding idea. So the fact that she's going to see this photo shoot, I don't know how she's going to feel about it, given that they were in their underwear. I don't get it. And I don't get how you have an engagement photo shoot in your underwear. Where will you display it? Where will you display it? Why couldn't they get dressed and stand still like anyway? I digress. I didn't get it. I felt it was inappropriate. The positions they were taking and everything else. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was in bad taste. But hey, it is to each their own. It was nice to see Tiffany and Brett. We got to see a couple of scenes with them today. Obviously, I think the producers were looking for drama and they didn't get the drama. I think this is why they had these scenes recorded. And I think because of how they turned up, they had no choice but to sort of play them out because Tiffany was very stressed about the wedding, which is to be expected. You know, it's something that's coming at a very fast pace. And so she was very upset about it. And Brett had to sort of try and sort of pacify her because she was crying that she feels overwhelmed. She's having to do everything. And I don't understand why she feels so overwhelmed given that Brett is into design. I would have assumed that they are planning this wedding together, and I don't understand why she feels so overwhelmed. I don't know whether Brett is very busy at work, so he doesn't have a chance to sort of take some of the load off her, because she was saying she's struggling to cope with the wedding planning, work, I think arranging for people to come to the wedding, and the fact that she still has to film and stuff. I didn't quite get it. But I love how caring and sort of empathetic Brett was with her, and very patient, and sort of trying to pacify her and reassure her, and so sort of make her feel loved and make her understand that she's not doing everything alone. I felt sorry for her. I really did. And then we have Paul and Micah. I don't get this idea of the rings. I don't know whether Micah was just indulging Paul because she knew that this is something he liked, so she was trying to compromise. I don't get it. They decided to design and sort of make their own wedding bands. It's cute, but I don't know. I don't know. I think they could have done it as just for some art to put in their home, not for them to say that they're designing their wedding bands. I don't know. We'll see how they look. But anyway, I don't think they're going to say yes on wedding day, so it is what it is. And then Kwame tried to phone his mum, and his mum wouldn't pick up his phone. And it's really sad, given how naughty SK was last season, and yet his mother stood by him. I don't get why his mother is not standing by him, whether she doesn't want him. She's worried that he's going to do the same thing that SK did, whereby, bring her in and then on wedding day say no. So I don't know whether this is why she's decided to take a step back and just sort of avoid any contact with him. He did call his brother, and his brother was like, you know how mommy is, once she's made up her mind, you can't change her mind and stuff. And for me, I don't know why he didn't drive down with us because of filming and stuff. I don't know why he didn't actually go there and sit down with her and have a conversation if she's not picking up her phone, because I would want my parent there. And if that were my child, I would hope they would at least come and speak to me if I'm very upset, and sort of try and reassure me, because his mom is right to be upset. I think his mom is right to be concerned. And you can tell that he is now worried because she's not picking up his calls, and she's decided, if you're grown enough to plan something without me, so do you. I don't know. And then I liked the date that Tiffany and Brett went on, because he was trying to cheer her up. So he took her on a, what do you call them? Seaplane, I think, on a date. He was just trying to sort of cheer her up because she was very distressed and she was very upset, and he was trying to sort of help her offload. So it was sweet. I like Brett. I think Brett is very caring. I think this season they were able to cast a better quality of guys. I think, because I personally think all the guys were amazing. Even if people are criticizing Kwame, I still think Kwame has good qualities. His only problem is his obsession with Micah. Otherwise, he is a great guy as well. He is caring and compassionate and empathetic towards his partner. Brett also took her on a date where, he had pictures and stuff, and she was very emotional. And I like them as a couple. I like how they complement each other. I think I can see them having a long-term relationship because they're both ready for marriage. Even Tiffany's mom said, Tiffany is 36, but she was not going to say yes to anyone unless she knew it was right. So I have to believe that Josh is the right partner for her, and I loved that for them. And last but not least, my favorites, ZACK and Bliss. Oh, ZACK, I think will take a big sigh of relief once this wedding is over, because I think meeting Bliss's family, you can see that his fear was real. I don't want anyone to say Bliss is ZACK's second choice, because Bliss is ZACK's first choice. ZACK was a broken man when he said no to her. ZACK, everywhere he went, he was talking about Bliss to anyone with ears to hear. Yes, he would speak about Irena when they were still a couple, but he would still bring in Bliss to some extent. And seeing his fear when he met her mom, how anxious he was, and seeing his fear when he met her dad today, I can truly understand why he was very anxious about meeting both of them. I can understand why he might have decided to take the easy way out and propose to Irena, because he thought he loved both women, and even though his connection with Bliss was stronger, he would go with the second option. I didn't like the way Bliss's dad behaved. I know fathers are protective of their daughters, but there is a way of protecting your daughter without sort of trying to belittle someone or sort of embarrass them. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. And the fact that one of Bliss's sister, she had her fancy shades. I don't know why production didn't ask her to take them off, because they were sort of mirror type, so you could see the reflection in them. And I think this is why they were being sort of strategic in how they recorded them. Um, ZACK, I like the fact that ZACK, I think, really likes his job. So when Bliss's dad started talking to him and they were asking him, about his job and stuff, he went into great detail. And I think Bliss's dad was trying to sort of be, I don't know of what word to use. So whether he was trying to be patronizing and try to see whether ZACK was actually a proper lawyer or whatever, because in his comment, one of his comments in his confessional, he said, did anyone check to make sure that he's actually a lawyer? And so the dad then asked, so what's the plan? Where do you both plan to live? And what? ZACK has got a great place. At least if they had been to ZACK's place and the dad was criticizing ZACK's place, then that makes sense. But the way he was sort of belittling ZACK and very dismissive, I didn't like that. At one point, I have to give it to Bliss, because Bliss defended her man. And sort of when the dad was saying, oh, you need to make plans, you need to this, I don't think you're ready, and sort of trying to minimize their ideas, Bliss was like, ZACK came from the same place you came from. Sort of to say, don't talk down to him, don't look down on him. He came from where you came from. He pulled himself from the gutter to be the man that he is today. How dare you try to minimize him and sort of be critical of him? I never would have imagined Bliss being this vocal, but she really, gave to her dad as he gave to her. So every comment he made, she was there to speak. And at one point, she actually asked him, he was like, well, I'm talking. And then she said, okay, fine. Continued. Well, I don't remember what I was saying, and Bliss went into her points, and I was like, yeah, I was cheering for her. I was excited. I was happy, and even ZACK, you could see, because at one point he became so overwhelmed because they were now going. Bliss and her dad were going back and forth, and he actually said, "I have to go to the toilet," and he excused himself, but I didn't like the way that behaved. I hope their relationship, I have a feeling they're still married, and I hope their ZACK's relationship with Bliss's dad has improved. I don't know whether it's the way it was edited or whether the dad was encouraged by production to be as mean as he can be to ZACK. Because at one point he started to bring up Bliss's sister, saying, oh, your sister did the same thing. She got married to a guy that used to work for me after I fired the guy. And it's like, why are you saying that? Bliss wasn't impressed by that. Bliss wasn't impressed by that. I think she couldn't come up with a way of sort of saying that, you need to stop. But I have a feeling she went back and told her mom, and I don't think her mom is going to be very happy with her ex-husband if she finds out about the way he was rude and dismissive. The stepmom, I did see her cry, but it was like, why don't you pull him or pinch him and tell him to keep quiet? Because this is not necessary. It's inappropriate. It's very rude and very disrespectful. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think on her part, Bliss must have told ZACK that don't say anything about Irena or being second choices. Just move on, and we'll just tell him what he needs to know, and everything else doesn't matter. I think at least it's over and done with. So hopefully next time they meet, he will be nicer to ZACK, because this was one of ZACK's fears, and it came to fruition with the way her dad behaved, which wasn't great. But anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.